Welcome. In this presentation, I will briefly review step number 3 in your curriculum development project, which is identifying essential policies and resources. And in this step, you should begin by creating a list of issues that have some sort of impact or effect on your program, be it positive or negative. So to start, begin brainstorming and consider any policies, guidelines, expectations, funding opportunities, grants, anything related to your program, and develop a list of those things. Consider what limitations there are for your program if you don't have what you need. What benefits and additional support can those policies and resources offer your program? And also consider the policies that you believe can have a negative effect on your program. Are there expectations in place that you feel can hinder the effectiveness of your program? And for an athletics program, this can be an example of the NCAA rules that state you can only begin practicing at a certain time, or some of the limitations placed on recruitment. And for physical education programs, well-maintained and updated facilities may be important and an important resource for you to identify. So keep in mind that you are addressing the specific policies and resources as they relate to your program. Now, every program is supported or limited in some way by these policies and resources. And these things should be identified clearly in your curriculum, and they should also be addressed annually to determine if any changes can be made. And for example, a high school track program is either supported or limited by equipment and facilities. If hurdles are damaged or broken, and if there are no funds to purchase new ones, then the hurdlers cannot compete. And this will limit the athletes. If a school does not have a long jump pit, then of course coaches and athletes will have a difficult time practicing and ultimately competing in the long jump. And this definitely has an impact on the overall track and field program. Now, funding is always an issue, so be sure you cite that one. Many programs utilize outdated or broken equipment, and the lack of monetary resources to improve those will definitely negatively affect the program. Now, for most school PE programs, scheduling or instructional time is an issue. Things like picture days, earthquake drills, fire drills, assemblies, all these usually take place during the scheduled physical education time. And it's interesting to note that although physical education is the only subject with mandated instructional time, it's easily overlooked when teachers are not utilizing that time for instruction because of the lack of accountability and validity in the broad expectations of physical education. So things such as instructional time, student IEPs, mainstreaming of students, grading, discipline policies, medical excuses, waivers, funding, equipment, and any other policy or resource that you can think of that will have a direct impact on your program, those things need to be cited. And if you noticed, I just gave you a list of things that you should include in your step 3. So as you can see, there are a variety of things that affect different programs, both positively and negatively. And you may need to check with your administrator, your school district, your program director, or even athletics director to see what additional policies are in place that will affect your program. So when you complete this section, the way it should be written and completed is to first identify the program, and this should be used as a heading for your paragraph to follow, and be sure you adhere to the APA guidelines for this section, which means centering your heading and putting it in bold print. In the paragraph, provide a clear, complete, and comprehensive description or explanation of the policy or resource, what it is, and how it specifically impacts your program. So, for example, if you're listing financial funding as a resource, don't simply state that you need money to purchase things. Identify how the funds can and will be used, what types of things will be purchased, and how those purchased items will be used. Justify the need for funding. Explain how you are unable to effectively do your job without the necessary funding. How will your students or athletes in the program be hurt if you don't have the funding to purchase the things that you need? And make sure that it is a clear need. You're not just developing a wish list of items, but a list of things that affect your program. Approach it from both points of view. What can you do with the money positively, and what will suffer without the money negatively? Each section should be fully developed and comprehensively explained. And in the written guidelines for the assignment, there's a list of questions to help you formulate your response. And keep in mind, you're determining the policies and resources for your own specific program. And it's just that simple and straightforward. That's what you need to do for this section. Remember, if you run into a problem or if you have any questions, always feel free to contact me.